Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Hope you're all having a great day. Today is a big day here as we will be starting our first full-time season in the NASCAR Cup Series. And of course, we started off with the most prestigious race in NASCAR, the Daytona 500. Very excited to give my first ever attempt at the Daytona 500 here. Obviously, this season we have taken over Erik Jones's position. Unfortunately, Erik Jones lost his spot in the 20 car, which was announced last season in our career mode, and he will actually be driving the number 51 truck this season. He was booted all the way down to the truck series, so we're going to be tracking his progress throughout this season and whatnot and see how he does, as I'm very confident you'll see him back in the Cup Series somewhere next season, as obviously I didn't want to go into the whole driver roster changes this season, as this is quote-unquote the 2020 season. So we just had one minor change with Erik Jones, but we come through here 2 speed weeks. Wednesday you see us, we were flying to the track here in Daytona. I had to incorporate Microsoft Flight Sim a little bit into this video. So yeah, we were just heading into Daytona, a safe landing. It was sunny skies and whatnot, so it was looking like it was already going to be a pretty good week here in Daytona, a track that I've struggled at in the past sometimes, so I wasn't sure what to expect coming into this for our first Daytona 500 in the Cup Series. But we had the media center where Jeff Gluck asked me, how does it feel coming into your first Daytona 500, especially after such an successful Xfinity Series career? I said, I'm nervous but excited. I'm confident in a strong run, and we have so much momentum from Xfinity, but it will be hard to replicate that here in the Cup Series. But we come through into our very first practice session here in our first full-time season of the Cup Series, where you see me on the pit lane here getting ready to go in Daytona. I was very excited to get out on track and just get some experience with this new roster of drivers that we're dealing with, obviously, after the step up from the Xfinity Series. At this point, I was just kind of waiting to go out, seeing if anyone on the pit lane was going to come out with me, but everyone just seemed to be kind of chilling here, so I decided, okay, we're just going to go out ourselves for now. So I made a run here in the first practice of Speed Weeks all by myself, and there you see, actually, there was problems for the 21, I believe that was of Matt Benedetto, who had some type of engine issue or a tire issue, but like I said, I made the first run all by myself, and it went well. Not the greatest speed in the car, but then I would come to the pit lane, and then we would actually make a run with Martin Truex Jr. and the 34 of Michael McDowell. Obviously, Martin Truex Jr. is our teammate this season, and it's an interesting little JGR lineup. A lot of the drivers are over, 3 of the drivers are over 30 years old, and then there's myself, obviously, here. Now as we dive down into the pit lane at the end of that practice run, so that would be actually it for practice, because rain would actually come in at the track here in Daytona and completely end practice, and we would just jump straight to the next event of qualifying here, as you saw some lightning even at the track now. So that would be the end of practice. We come through into qualifying here for the Cup Series in the Daytona 500, and you guys of course expect a 40th place qualifying effort. Who doesn't expect a 40th place qualifying effort here at Daytona? Every plate track, so hard to qualify well. I actually decided to put a whole bunch of tire pressures in the car, change some things in the setup to see if I could get as much speed as I could out of it. The first lap I did here in the qualifying run, I actually put it up by the wall to build up as much speed as I could, coming to my second lap here in qualifying, where I would now drop down to that bottom, and as we came through turns 3 and now out of turns 4, just continuing to run that bottom lane. This lap was a little bit faster for sure than my first lap, which was up top. So we come through into the tri-oval, and the goal was a 45-0. We run a 46-0, and we go dead last here in P40. So kind of expected, not surprised at all by that. But it's going to be a tough Daytona 500, at least in that first stage for sure for us here. Now, as you see the rest of the qualifying order, Jimmy Johnson in his final year qualifies 25th here for the Daytona 500. And on the pole, it is Justin Haley and Joey Gase, the 2 drivers on the front row, 2 underdogs on the front row for the Daytona 500. Definitely some potential for quite the shakeup here in this weekend's Daytona 500. So that's definitely going to make things interesting. I'm not sure really how much speed they're going to have in the race, but now it was time to come through into the first race of the weekend, the Truck Series, where, like I said, we're going to keep track of how Erik Jones does in the 51 truck this season. I myself, we will not be competing in any truck races this season, but I will be doing some Xfinity Series races. But the Xfinity car is a 4th car for Joe Gibbs Racing. It is going to be split between quite a few drivers, mostly driven by Eric Jones. Myself is going to be in it for this episode here in Daytona, as well as you're going to see a few other drivers, maybe from the JGR stable, maybe like Ty Gibbs or something like that in that car, which you will see the way that car looks here in just a few minutes. But first up we had the Truck Series race here, the Next Era Energy 250 at Daytona. So the Truck Series, obviously we had a great rookie season here myself, and it's hard to believe we're already at the Cup Series now, but obviously we won the championship in our rookie truck season, and we did the same in the Xfinity Series. And of course in the Xfinity Series we stole the championship on the final lap of Phoenix Raceway, and what an epic championship finale that was. And hopefully we can have another epic championship battle here this season. In the Cup Series, definitely going to be tough for us to do anything championship wise. I think in our rookie season for the Cup Series, I think the biggest thing is just getting a win first of all. But Eric Jones worked his way through the field here on the Truck Series without really any problems at all. He had worked his way now up inside the top 10. We were at this point, the later points of this race here in Daytona, as he made it 3 wide up the inside of the 20 of Spencer Boyd and the 21 there of Zane Smith. Zane Smith showing a lot of talent in real life here in the Truck Series. I think he's going to be a potential future star if he keeps it up now. As he came through a little bit later, Eric up the inside of the 33, and then he would also be able to get up to the inside of Jordan Anderson as he came through into the next corner, and even carry that momentum to the inside of Austin Hill there, who was battling for that lead there with Ben Rhodes as he came down the back straightaway. So Eric Jones putting on a lot of pressure on the back of Ben Rhodes. We cut straight to the final lap now here in Daytona. Jones would actually get a chance to make a move up the inside of Ben Rhodes, but he couldn't quite pull it off. He fades in behind him, but Rhodes decides he's going to go to the top lane through turn 3, and this is Eric Jones' chance to pounce all the way to the bottom of the track while we have Rhodes all the way up top. Josh Rayome just there behind us as he came through out of turns for Eric Jones side by side for the win here in Daytona. Rhodes, though, would have the run coming to the line. They're 3 wide at the line, but Ben Rhodes wins in Daytona barely over Eric Jones in his return to the Truck Series. It was almost a victory in his return, but it's second place just barely here in Daytona. But already starting off the weekend with a nice little 3 wide finish for the victory. Josh Rayome was just barely on the inside now. But now we would jump to the next race here, the second race of the weekend in Daytona, the Xfinity Series, where I myself would hop in the car for this race now. So I was looking forward to this one quite a bit, just fresh off of the championship here in the Xfinity Series. So hoping that we could have a solid run here. Daytona usually hasn't treated me well. I don't think I've ever won at Daytona in like any NASCAR Heat career mode video ever. I might be wrong, but right off the top of my memory, I don't think we've ever won here. Not a 500, not an Xfinity race or a truck race or even a Coke Zero 400 or whatever it is now. But I would start in the back as expected here in Daytona, just like Eric Jones did in the truck race, and just like I will in the Cup Series race here in just a few minutes now, as we came through, building up a lot of speed on this inside lane at the first about quarter of a lap, because the outside checked up so hard, but then they would both kind of even out here down the back straightaway. But then we kind of got a run on the inside of the 4 of Jesse Little. You see the scheme we're running, the sponsor was actually supposed to be Ream, but it gave me Brandt instead here. So we have 2 Brandt cars here, and they're 2 different teams. JRM on the 7 car of Justin Allgaier, and myself here. I went with number 17 actually on this car, just because JGR already runs 18, 19, and 20, so I decided, well, we'll make it 17 through 20. I don't know if there's even a 17 car in the Xfinity Series, but if there is, I will make sure to correct the custom number on our car. But the early stages of this race were led by Ryan Sieg, but then you see right there that someone actually had a problem blowing an engine early in this race. That would bring out a caution. We would get things back underway on the outside lane. That would be, surprisingly, the only caution of this race. The truck race went green the whole way, but that would be the first and only caution, like I said, here in Daytona for the Xfinity Series. But unfortunately, being on the outside was definitely not what we needed. It hindered my progress quite a bit as we came through right to the final lap. Here in Daytona, Ryan Sieg was still out front as we came through turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time on the outside of our teammate of Riley Herbst, just behind the 0 of Jeffrey Earnhardt as we go down the front straightaway. Not a great performance here for us in Daytona, as we're going to come through to cross the line in a pretty disappointing position here, as we barely beat out Riley Herbst for a P21, and the winner would end up being Ryan Sieg, who held off the 44 of Tommy Martins and Jeff Green. So Sieg already locked locked into the playoffs. He had a win or two last season as well in the Xfinity Series, as we're going to keep up with those other 2 series of the trucks and Xfinity Series all season long here in the Cup Series we have going now, as we would get ready though to go for the Daytona 500. It is finally time here in Daytona Beach now, as we do a quick overview overlook of the track with, actually I was using the drone camera from Microsoft Flight Simulator to do this now, as we're ready to get going here in the Daytona 500. But as the cars get rolling here under the pace laps, we're going to take a quick look at this season's rookie class. Keep in mind I said we're looking at this as a quote-unquote 2020 season. So we have Tyler Reddick, myself, Cole Custer, Christopher Bell, Chad Fincham even, John Hunter Nemechek, and Bobby Carter. Yes, Bobby Carter. So definitely going to be an interesting season with these rookies, and I'm looking forward to it very much. Thank you guys so much for the hard work over this offseason. I'm excited for today. Let's go get ourselves a Daytona 500 victory. Alright, there you heard just a little quick radio message from myself to the team before we get this race underway. Of course, Jimmie Johnson in his final season here, 7 championships, 83 wins, 36 poles, 373 top 10s as he gets rolling, ready to go to the grid. We're going to see if we can make it 8 championships this season and even more wins to add on to that 83 now. And poles and top 10s, we'll see if we can add more as well. There you see the ones to watch in the Daytona 500. Denny Hamlin, 3 Daytona 500 wins now. The whole Penske team always does really well here, working together. Chase Elliott always strong at plate tracks, and the underdog Michael McDowell always seems to be able to find a way to sneak in to the kind of higher running order at a plate track. There you see Justin Haley on pole. Ryan Blaney starting at the back though after failing pre-race inspection, along with Daniel Suarez, who had an unapproved body modification. Now Suarez going to the 96 this season after being booted from the 41 of Stewart-Haas Racing now, as he is replaced by a rookie, Cole Custer. Now as the green flag is out and we are underway here in the Daytona 500 now for the first attempt of our career in the Cup Series. Now as we start behind the 00 of Quinn Hoff, I actually forgot to mention Quinn Hoff is another rookie we're competing against. I left him out of the rookie drivers list, so keep that in mind. He is also a rookie now as we're underway though through turns 1 and 2 on this opening lap of the Daytona 500. Haley, Gase on that front row now as we're going to go down this back stretch, picking up the speed now up over 180 miles per hour. At this point you're going to see us up over 200 at some points in this race, of course. Now as it seems like we can usually get around 205 or so here in this pack of AI now. So unfortunately though, things weren't going great here on this first lap. Blaney gets past me after starting behind me, and so does Daniel Suarez. So I actually have to drop in behind both of them here down the front stretch and settle in for a moment and wait to be able to make a move now, as the outside definitely did not work now, as I do have draft partners turned on for this race, but obviously we still haven't made a whole lot of friends here in the Cup Series, so we're not going to have a whole lot of drivers who are going to trust us enough to try and work with us. Now as it came through though on that lap 3 of stage 1 here out of turns 2, trying to look to the outside of Daniel Suarez, get to the back of Quinn Hoff there in that 00 for Starcom Racing. There's you see the 73, another rookie, Bobby Carter in the field as we dive down towards turns 3. Bobby Carter in the Cup Series field with a little bit of controversy. Some people questioning, does he deserve to be in the Cup Series? He had quote-unquote apparently like 20 top 20s in the Dirt Series, so they felt like he was qualified to be here in the Cup Series. So we're going to see if he can prove his worth here in the Cup Series this season. But I had worked my way now up into P37 here on this 4th lap, so definitely wasn't working my way through very quickly. Justin Haley was actually still leading the way after 4 whole laps now, as we were now on this 5th lap on the inside of Bubba Wallace. We dive down into turn 3. We get up the inside of the 7-time champion, Jimmie Johnson, in his final Daytona 500. Definitely not how he wants it to go so far as we exit turns 4. There, though, beside me, Ross Chastain is actually having problems. You can see smoke in my rear view mirror from his car, and the caution comes out for the first time here today in the Daytona 500. Justin Haley, Kyle Busch run P1 and P2. No pit stop necessary on that caution, so we would stay out. If things stay green, we won't need to make a pit stop in stage 1, likely not stage 2, maybe stage 2 though. We'll see how that goes, but I don't think we will. But in the stage 3, the final stage, we will have to pit under green if things go green without any yellows. But now we get ready to go green for the first restart of the day, which is now underway. On my inside, you see the 42 of Matt Kenseth, who returns to the Cup Series this season in replacement of Kyle Larson there for that number 42 Chip Ganassi Racing Chevrolet. And actually, I got into the back of Blaney, and as soon as I hit his back bumper, it like completely destroyed the speed in this car here on the restart. So I get down in front of Daniel Suarez, knowing that I was just going to go backwards if I didn't get down in front of him now as we came through out of turns too. So definitely not what I was looking for, but we have such a huge run now down the back straightaway with help from the draft. We're going to send it to the back of Kenseth. Haley still leads, but second place now is taken up by the 37 of Ryan Preece as we dive down into turn 3 behind that 42 of Matt Kenseth. Chase Elliott there got slowed up quite a bit behind Martin Truex Jr., Chad Fincham on that far outside lane. Now as we're up the inside of Cole Custer in the 41, as well as Ryan Newman in the 6, and all of a sudden we're now up into P23, passing Kenseth, and we're going to get up to 22nd. Bobby Carter and Christopher Bell in the mix. 2 other rookies we're competing against. We made it 3 wide with them. Move into the top 20 past William Byron. Take the momentum to the outside of the 2 car of Keselowski. I mentioned that whole Penske team and the ones to watch. You know they're going to work together well. Joey Logano, Keselowski, Ryan Blaney. We're going to see if they can use that just Penske charm to get up to the front. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite complete the pass on Keselowski. I had to fall in behind him, and then we just kind of chilled in behind Keselowski for the next handful of laps. We come through now to just 2 laps to go once we cross the line here in stage 1. Now as we came through, Joey Logano right on our right rear, but we had a draft partner from Christopher Bell as we dive down towards turns 1. So we know Christopher trusts us enough to work with us now as we came through down the front stretch, coming through to now start the final lap. Keselowski leaves the door open. I take it, trying to get up, of course, into the top 10. Obviously, you have to be in the top 10 in the NASCAR Cup Series and every NASCAR Series to get stage 1 as we dive up the inside now of Ty Dillon. Ryan Preece currently leads the way now as we came through down the back straightaway at this point, hooked up with our teammate Denny Hamlin. He's not a draft partner, still doesn't trust myself enough as we dive down into turns 3, but Preece leads over second place of our teammate of Kyle Busch, the 2-time Cup Series champion 2015 and 2019 as we come through now out of turns 4. Keselowski working with Justin Haley, the pole sitter behind us. Haley has fallen back quite considerably in the final laps of this first stage, but we come through to cross the line to get P10 in this first and opening stage here of our very first Daytona 500. Ryan Preece already picking up a playoff point here to start the season, although Ryan Preece is very unlikely to make the playoffs unless he wins this race or another plate race later down the season at Talladega, or the second Daytona race, the night race later, which is actually the regular season finale this time. There's going to be such a scheduled shakeup to get used to for the first time in the career mode now. It's always been very similar from NASCAR Heat 3 and NASCAR Heat 4, but this game we finally have quite the scheduled shakeup. But we would take 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires under the pit stop, and get going now for the second stage. And just like the last restart, when I hit Ryan Blaney's bumper, the car slowed down a ton, but this time I didn't touch anything, but the car just did not launch off the restart. So we have a huge gap between myself and the car in front of Denny Hamlin as it's Ryan Preece and Kyle Busch on that front row. But now you see the gap now as the car just did not go on the restart. And I was very, very confused about that now as I was holding up Brad Keselowski behind me. I felt bad for that, but unfortunately I felt bad for holding him up, but I cut down in front of him anyways because I know that I just don't want to get caught on that outside lane here in stage 2 now. As unfortunately all that hard work we did to get up into P10, well, it was completely wiped with that restart. We're now down to P24, and as we came through, though, down the front straightaway, we had closed back in on the back of now who was in 23rd, which was Kevin Harvick, and then we get up the inside of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, who did not get any stage points in stage 1, but we're hoping that we can see Jimmy work his way forwards now in stage 2, as we would now go up the inside of the 17 of Chris Buescher, 3 wide now as he replaced Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at that car this season now as we came through, continuing to work our way back forwards, passing our teammate Denny Hamlin. We had help again from our affiliate teammate of Christopher Bell there in that number 95 car. But now we're going to bring in the amp segment here today for the first time now, as we're going to crank up the volume here in Daytona.
Careful, still there. Careful, still there. Careful, still there. Careful, still there. Stay out the bottom. Still there?
All right, there was the amped segment here in the Daytona 500. Now, you had seen we had worked our way through the field a little bit now as we were up into P6 at this point now on lap 8 of 13 as I went 3 wide of the inside of the 36 of David Reagan, side drafting the 24 of William Byron as Ryan Preece still leading here in Daytona, but he has pressure from Brendan Gaughan for that lead position as we dive down into the tri-oval. Another rookie here like myself of Tyler Reddick in P3 now as we come through, getting a caution though now late in the second stage, which is going to force a very late stage restart now here in Daytona, and nobody coming to the pit lane, so obviously I stay out. Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott, 2 Hendrick drivers down in P38 and P39. Not looking good, right now for Jimmy Johnson, who's having a pretty subpar or very rough final Daytona 500 now as we get ready to go green though once again from now P4. We're in position to where we could potentially maybe steal a stage victory if we get our cards played correctly now as the green flag is back out and we are underway. Only 2 laps remain here in stage 2. Now behind us it looks like we had Chad Fincham in our rear view mirror now, so quite a few underdog names right now up here. Ryan Preece, Brendan Gaughan, Austin Dillon's up there in the mix, so we could maybe consider Tyler Reddick a bit of an underdog as well. But once again, the car just does not launch very well off the restart. You can see the gap build between myself and Brendan Gaughan at this point. That was 3 restarts in a row. Very confused about that. The first one obviously was due to the contact with Ryan Blaney, but the last 2 now, we didn't run into anything. So I was very confused about the lack of speed in this car on the restarts as we dive down into turn 3. Now hooking up with our affiliate teammate of Christopher Bell. Might as well just drive a JGR car at this point because we're working better with him than any of our actual teammates now as we go down the front stretch. So as we come through the tri-oval, it is going to be the white flag for stage 2 in the air. Ryan Preece won stage 1 and he looks to sweep the first 2 stages with now a stage 2 victory. Kyle Busch would get up our inside as we dive down towards turns 1 and he would get ahead of us now as we came through turns 3. On this final lap we were now 3 wide with Chad Fincham, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Boy, even in the mix now as we come through out of turns 4, heading down the front stretch. Quinn Hoff on my inside now as we go down towards the tri-oval there, getting close with Quinn Hoff at the line. It is not going to be any stage points as we come through to get P14 in the stage. Now 4 spots worse than our stage 1 efforts. So a little bit disappointed with that, but we would come into the pit lane of course for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires. Didn't feel like any adjustments were necessary on the cars. You see Ryan Preece did win stage 2, so he sweeps stage 1, sweeps stage 1 and 2, sorry, and picks up now 2 playoff points total here as he looks to just dominate this Daytona 500, as we would gain 1 spot though on the pit lane, so we get lined up on the inside, so that's very good for us. But like I said, Preece looking to dominate and win the Daytona 500 for the first time in his career and look to get his first career win overall now as we are underway here for the start of the 3rd and final stage. 16 laps to go. So far been a very solid race here as a whole for Daytona. Not the most exciting in the world, but definitely not anywhere near the most boring. Now as we dive down into turns 1 on the inside of Chad Fincham, we're 3 wide with Fincham and Bubba Wallace now as we come through the corner, and then Kyle Busch in front of us is going to go 3 wide with Corey LaJoie and Christopher Bell, and then once again you see the speed just not that great in the launch right now. So still a little bit confused. It did feel better than what it had previously on the past 3 restarts. Now as we came through down the backstretch side by side with Kevin Harvick now as well. Bubba Wallace still on the far outside, so we're still 3 wide here as we dive through turns 3 and turns 4. A little bit of contact there actually with the 4 of Kevin Harvick as I got hit from behind so hard from the 36 that we take the momentum right to the back of Ross Chastain now, as I did not want to slow down, so I took it to the 3rd lane. Doesn't quite work in our favor now as you see Bubba Wallace behind me. 3 lanes going here in Daytona at the start of this 3rd and final stage. William Byron would actually pass the 37 for the lead, but you see myself getting into the wall through turns 1 and turns 2, and that completely destroys the momentum and the ground that we had gained throughout this race now as we're down outside of the top 20 here in the Daytona 500 with just 15 laps to go. Completely my fault, a simple driver error, and unfortunately we are going to pay the price for our own mistakes now as we come through now on lap 37, doing what I can to just get back going forwards now. We're in P25 going to the outside 3 wide with Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott now as we came through out of turns 2 on lap 37, trying my best to get past that 43 of Bubba, but then the car starts smoking in front of us. I let off the gas knowing it's going to be a caution. I do not want to risk getting involved in an accident. caution does indeed come out, and everybody is coming to the pit lane now. William Byron leads the Daytona 500 as we get ready to go for what could be the final restart of the day. No tires getting put on the car, just a little bit of fuel to make sure we have some real estate here in case of overtime, as well as repairs from that massive hit David Reagan gave to my back bumper, and that actually gave us a second of repairs worth, so he definitely hit us pretty hard, but unfortunately we're restarting on the outside here for, like what I said, could be the final restart of the Daytona 500, which is now underway here as it's going to be 11 laps to go. William Byron looking for his first career win. Could it be at the most prestigious race of the NASCAR Cup Series, the Daytona 500? We got the 24 car and the 3 car on the front row currently, so quite the lineup there going on that front row now, as it's just a legendary lineup. Over 100 wins right there between those two numbers as we come through out of turns 2, going down this back straightaway side by side with Ryan Newman now, as we're going to bring up the visor cam for the first time here in today's episode, as we got a little bit of help here from behind from Joey Logano. I mentioned the Penske drivers and the ones to watch, as well as Denny Hamlin. The Penske drivers nor Denny Hamlin have really shown up here in the Daytona 500 doing much, and same for Michael McDowell. So far I'm completely off. I even said Chase Elliott in the ones to watch. He's not done much either. So my ones to watch was completely off here for the Daytona 500, but we still had 10 laps to go at this point. But unfortunately, William Byron had lost the lead, and Christopher Bell, our affiliate teammate, would get up there in the 95 and take over the lead for a brief amount of time here. And with now just 10 laps to go, like I said, we come through now a lap later on lap 42. Bell actually moved to the top of the track and gave the lead back to Ryan Preece. Now, as Preece just continues to find himself up front in this race now, as he just continues to lead. We know he has a fast car, and I would be surprised if he does not win this race at this point. But we come through to now just 6 laps to go in the Daytona 500, and Preece actually did lose the lead to Chad Fincham, another rookie here in the series for this season. Now, as we came through crossing the line 5 laps ago, we had now worked our way back up to P14, passing Ryan Newman to take over the 13th position, closing in on the back of our teammate of Denny Hamlin as we dive down towards turns 1, getting up the inside of Brendan Gaughan nearly, but we actually got a side draft from Ryan Newman now as we came through 4 laps to go here, running now P10 in the Daytona 500. Christopher Bell has now fallen outside of the top 10. He obviously led a little bit ago. We haven't had the luck of leading this race yet. Now, as we came through to just 3 laps ago, now up the inside of Timmy Hill, we just continued following on the inside. Ryan Preece had fallen now down to that 10th position, or 11th position. He's now outside of the top 10 with 3 laps to go here in Daytona. He's written out of the picture. I send it to the inside of Hamlin now with 2 laps to go in Daytona, getting past him and the SHR driver of Eric Almirola. Chad Fincham still leads away over second place of Bobby Carter. 2 rookies leading the way as we dive down into turn 3 behind our teammate of Kyle Busch. Now Kevin Harvick there in 3rd, as well as we get into the back of Kyle, trying to push him forwards now. So all of a sudden we're in P5 coming to the white flag, and if we get everything to go our way, we could somehow sneak in here and win the Daytona 500. The white flag is in the air. White flag sponsored by someone. Sponsor me, please. That's all we have for this one now, as we're side by side with Harvick down into turns 1. We're going to clear him, take over the 4th position here on the final lap now as we come through turns 1. We have a draft partner in Harvick, so I decided to see maybe we could make that work now. But unfortunately, out of turns 2, he just does not have the run because he's side by side battling for P5 with his teammate of Eric Almirola. Fincham, Carter, 1, 2, Kyle Busch, myself, 3rd and 4th. As we dive down towards turn 3, we leave Kyle Busch out hanging to dry, trying to make a move and get our first win in the Cup Series in just our first attempt at a full-time season. Now, as we come through out of turns 4, Fincham, Carter, 1, 2, and it looks like it's going to be Chad Fincham down into the tribal. He is going to win the Daytona 500 as Carter hangs on to 2nd. We finished 3rd, but Chad Fincham somehow wins the underdog. I doubt he's going to be able to stay in the top 30 in points and get into the playoffs, but what an underdog story for Chad Fincham to win, as it's an all-rookie 1, 2, 3 here in the Daytona 500 now, as for our first race at this track in the Cup Series. Very, very solid performance now. So definitely happy about that now. Chris Buescher, DNF, 25 laps down, 40th place. Jimmy Johnson, unfortunately, was way down the lineup. Kurt Busch, as well as you see Fincham now coming through to do his burnout here. So congratulations to Chad Fincham on the Daytona 500 victory now here. So incredible for him. Like I said, I don't think he'll be able to stay in the top 30 to get into the playoffs, but there you see Chad Fincham, Daytona 500 winner here. So congrats to him now, but we come through out of here with a P3 finish. Cannot complain at all about that. A very solid effort in my opinion, at least. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I put a lot into it, so like I said, I really hope you guys did enjoy that one now, as the only message was from John Hunter Nemechek saying he's excited to see what we can do in the Cup Series this season. So that will do it, but of course before we end this episode, we're going to check out the points, and if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to let me know, and yeah, just you guys know what to do at this point now. But in the next one, we're going to Las Vegas. Usually it's Atlanta, but we got the schedule shake-up this season. It will be Las Vegas, where we will check in probably on how Eric Jones did. I will not be competing in the Xfinity race for Las Vegas. We'll have someone else in the car, which could very likely be Eric Jones for that one. But of course, the Cup Series race is where it's at now for our second time out. So we're P5 in the points after a P3 finish just because of stage points. We only had one stage point, which you can see on the screen. Ryan Preece had the most of 20, and he's P3 in the points. He finished quite a bit worse than us, and that just shows how important stage points are in this series. Quinn Hoff currently the last one in the playoffs, but that doesn't matter. It's still very early in the season. So thank you all, though, for taking the time out of your day to watch this episode. I will see you guys in the next one for round number 2 of the Cup season in our rookie season here in the 20 car for Las Vegas. Thank you for watching, and have a great day, everybody.